miles to LA. And a gridlock, Botox. Oh. I do like the yoga pants, though. When was the last time we were in LA? About 10 years ago, doing a Vengeful Spirit? Man, that seems like forever ago, doesn't it? Hey. Trying to talk to you here.
What?
What are you listening to?
Podcast. Why?
All right, well, I need something to keep me awake, so crank it up.
I mean, it's a history podcast.
I like history, you know. Hell, we're driving a piece of history right here.
Not that kind of history, dude. This is it's a podcast on the history of the Protestant Reformation.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. I'm Sandra.
Sam.
Oh,
wow.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
We thought we'd
You know
bring
what?
you some of our thoughts
I'm
on
done
some
apologizing.
themes
Listening to
that
it
run through
is
the
research.
Supernatural show.
No.
This first
As a matter of fact,
episode, we thought
turn it
we'd
off.
have a chat about
It'll go
the
on.
themes of family that run through Supernatural. So the family you come from versus the family you make for yourself. Sandra and Ted went to the Supernatural DCCon last weekend, and they are going to tell us all about it. Take it away, people.
Okay, so I guess we should start with our first experience at the convention hotel itself, which was COVID check-in. If you would like to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, well, this is where I'm going to do a comparison between what was the other location?
We were at New Jersey.
The New Jersey one and the DC one. The New Jersey one, when you go to check in, they did separate the lines from people that had already done the tests to the people that hadn't done the tests yet and did it on site. For the DC one, it was one line. And, nice long line, and people are taking their tests and waiting for their tests to show that they're safe to proceed. And the people who have already done their tests are waiting in that same line, which makes no sense. And then people, of course, not wearing masks because they're not in the event yet, are...
Well, they didn't have to either.
Yeah, they didn't have to. Are being very vocalized on their opinions. And I'm just thinking this is just not...
This was just the start. I could already see Ted's eyes rolling. And this is where we first met. One of the we call them like our line buddies, where we ended up like seeing this youngin again and again. She was so cute. Her name was Jessica. But like we got in line behind her, and Ted's like,
with the photos.
Yeah. And Ted was like, is this the COVID line? And she's like, yeah. And then that's when somebody in front of us started voicing their opinion about how. I don't even remember. I just know I kept looking at Ted, and I was just like, please don't. Just shut.
No, I kept my mouth shut.
Proud of you. I would not. I would have had to stay around and be like, we're all in the same line, buddy. You want to shut up? Cool.
But it's funny, then Jessica was in front of us, and she was immediately like, yeah, same. Like she immediately like bonded with Ted over like that. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then somehow we got rushed forward because we had tested. They figured
Somebody
out
finally
to pull
figured
us
it
out and say, if you've gotten a test, go around and go in this other line, which was a lot quicker, and so that they could like look at your test results.
Well, we didn't initially hear that request.
No,
it wasn't until
it was Jessica that was
buddy
in front of us, I think.
was like, oh, by the way, you've done your test. Come this way. It's like,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. So then we got that part done, and then once we got that done, we started talking to her outside of the line because we were finding out a little bit more about where she's from. She's from North Carolina. And we actually found out from her that Julian Richings had canceled that, like on our way there, he'd canceled because he'd gotten COVID. And that was a photo op that I had gotten for Ted. He was really looking forward to it. So like, okay, well, that's another thing that I'll have to get some credit for, because we'd found out that we'd gotten the Just My Imagination photo, which I thought was really just going to be Sully. And then I found out later it was the mom and it was going to be Richard Speight. But because Richard Speight didn't show up, I was going to get a credit for that too. So it kind of, yeah.
I showed my husband that photo up.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, look how fucking cute they were, because that was the first one she sent us. I was like, show me your photographs. I need to see if you touched Jared. And she was like, we haven't had that one yet. I've got this one. I haven't got the digitals yet. So I showed my husband and I was like, look at my babies, look how cute they are. And he was like, I could see him squinting at the photo. And I was like, it's Sully from the episode with the unicorns and shit. And he was like, who's that woman? And I was like, it's the mom from the episode. Like, I know she was in it for like 4 seconds, but we're not looking at them. Look at my babies, look how cute. But he was genuinely just like,
well, I'm looking at that.
And I was like,
I'm looking at that photo right now. She's got it right on her desk. And
yeah. Because I think I told you, he helped me like put some of our pictures like up yesterday. That was one of my, I said, you have to do this for me on Saturday. I said, I put them in the frames. You need to go up. But yeah, I've got that above on my desk with the book, which we'll talk about once we get that. But yeah, that was fun. That was totally fun. So then we ended up in the registration line, and that went pretty quickly once we figured out where we needed to go. Again, I will say it, I don't always think creation, they just don't do a great job of like posting where you need to go. So a lot of it is based off of other people kind of helping guide you. I think sometimes even the volunteers, you don't know somebody's a volunteer. Like I'd be like, give me a shirt that says I'm a volunteer that I can keep as a memento. If it says volunteer on the back, to go and ask that person, well, where do I go? Otherwise it's the blind leading the blind sometimes.
Why don't they have?
Well, somebody had proactively put down some bright pink tape on the ground marking the lines, but the lines aren't actually where the tape is telling you.
They end up moving stuff, like, so the placement's a little bit off. So again, it was weird. Like we got our lanyards and that for our seats and things, and then I was like, well, I asked at the desk, I was like, well, where do we go for our photo op exchanges, or if we want to buy a photo? Because this is where, Karlee, I was hoping I wanted to try to get that J2 and baby, or because I had gotten the credit voucher for, so because they postponed, the convention was supposed to originally happen in 2021. If you had gold or silver, and we had silver tickets, and you carried them over to next year, you would get a $200 credit per ticket. So we had two. So that was, $400, but it had to get used at this convention. It was going to expire. And I had told you in advance, I'm like, well, I'm going to try to get some extra Jensen ones. But then it was like, whoa, then the baby thing came up and I was like, oh my gosh, it'd be really great to get the baby thing. Well, so we were in line. We got through that line. I got my credit vouchers. We got two just already signed autographed photos, just random. I got one of Rachel Miner, who plays Meg, which is nice because we haven't met her yet. And she has MS, and, Ted's kind of, I've been wanting him to at least, get a chance to at least talk to her or whatever a little bit. So we got one photo.
Yeah.
And then we got a cast photo Misha had signed. So I was like, okay, great. So we had two that way. And then we're waiting in the photo op exchange line, credit stuff. And that was really long. We met another person behind us in line because we had lost Jessica at that point. We're like, oh, maybe we'll see you again. So we were in line we met Alicia, who she was staying at the same hotel we were staying at. And she's a Jared Sam lover. She had an always keep fighting AKF tattoo. So we were talking about that. So I kind of felt that there were people filling up your place there. Like there was a lot of Sam love around me, kind of, balancing out all the Dean stuff that usually goes on. So that was nice. But then we were maybe an hour in line. And then one of the people are like, okay, Jensen's sold out. And I was like, oh Christ. And I was just like, gosh. We were, and they weren't even stating anything about baby. And we were already really tired. And I was like, plus we still had to go to the grocery store. I'm like, honey, I think we're just going to have to try tomorrow morning again. And he's just looking at me like, oh God, it's going to be a repeat.
It's going to be another long day.
It's going to be a repeat of New Jersey. So we said goodbye to Alicia, went and did our grocery shopping, and then ate, and then crashed. So yeah, it was like, oh gosh, we're not going to, it's going to be the same thing. We're not going to get what we're expecting to. So Friday morning comes, right? Like, yay, bright and early. So we got there about
early.
Well, early. We got there like 8:30. Apparently the line was going to open up around 9 for photo ops. So ended up catching up with Jessica again in another line because her sister was there, but just for the day. So she was in like a line waiting to open to go. And then she just basically left her. So she's like, I'm just going to go with these two and we're going to go in the 5 photo op line. I'll see you when I see you. So we waited in line again. Again, Jensen sold out like a handful before we got to the counter. I think you left at some point because you forgot something. Did you forget your fan? Was that Friday morning?
Was the fan.
I remember
left. I left the line.
He left, so I was with Jessica. We were waiting. We were chatting. Yeah, heard that Jensen sold out, but I at least went to the counter this time and I asked. I said, "Do you have baby photo ops?" And we were told, "Nope, they're all sold out. We won't have any more." And she was like, but, we'll probably have Jensen again tomorrow. I said, well, do you have any like Jared and Jensen? And she didn't have any Jared and Jensen. I'm like, okay. So of course, Ted wasn't there for me to break the news to him that we were going to have to do this again. But I was like, okay, so we're going to have to try again on Saturday. So Jessica and I, because I think she wanted to try to get another couple autographs because I think she wanted to try to get another Jared one too, actually. Now that I think about it, but she was trying to get this great art piece that she had done. She was trying to get every actor to sign, this collage that she'd made. So
yeah, I wouldn't even know how to explain.
Yeah, I sent them pictures.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I know
beautiful.
what it is.
Yeah. It was a lot of work, and it was great, like talking to her about it. So I'm like, okay, so maybe we should try earlier. And she's like, okay, so 8. I'm like, I guess we're going to try 8:00 tomorrow morning. So it'll be a full hour, before the counter even opens. So we're like, okay, we'll do that. So Ted comes back. I break the bad news to him. And he's like, and then didn't you get lost or something on the way back to the hotel? Like you told me afterwards.
Oh, because I thought I could, again, love DC. I thought I could make a beeline directly from one hotel to the other. And next thing I know, I've found myself well past our hotel and now twice the distance. And now I'm showing up at that supermarket. Like, okay, this is way too far. So I got to turn around and go back and try to start over. And
so you learned I need my wife to help guide me. So I was
not have Google Maps over there. Jeez, I've been like glued to my phone. Like, where am I going now?
He just thought he could wing it, and it didn't work.
Well, I did use Google Maps to find my way back.
Yeah, to find your way back. You're like, DC, I can get this to happen. So I think the first panel we listened to was actually Sully and the mom from the Just My Imagination episode, and
got to learn so much about the way, but that the actress that plays the mom, I feel so bad for her. And now, they actually played that episode at the convention, and I want to see that episode a few more times, just knowing what she went through to create a beautiful scene without giving away how much pain she's in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you haven't watched the panel, it was interesting to watch. Yeah.
But in the scene that she was in, basically she puts her hand in Sparkle's blood. Mm-hmm. And she can, of course, nobody's supposed to, she can't see it. We can see it. And so she goes and smears this glitter blood all over her face, not realizing it's there. Well, she has to complete the scene, but she got glitter in her eye.
Oh.
And the excruciating tearing, like the way she explains it in her panel, it was brutal.
Yeah.
And watched the scene, and there wasn't so much, you can't even tell which eye it's in, because I was looking to see if there's like an eye twitch or some sort of like micro grimacing pain for a split second. Nothing. She did that whole scene, and they did 2 takes?
I think she had to, I think so the director, Richard Speight, wanted to try to do it all in one take because, they have to reset, they'd have to clean her up. It'd be all this thing. So he was really like, Carrie, if you can, let's just try to get this in one take. So she like had that in the back of her head. She's like, okay, look at Sam, look at Dean, look at Sam, look at Dean, like just try to like get through it without, because she's like, just try to get through it so they don't have to reset and start all over again. So yeah, I think
it was just one.
I think it was just one take,
Okay.
maybe 2 takes, but whatever. I don't think it took a long time for them to like get that, but she had to suffer quite a bit to do that. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
She took one for the team.
And there's a whole thing about
Yeah.
the Bugs episode, because she's in the Bugs episode. She's the one that's in the shower with the spiders. I will just say
Yeah.
it's better just to hear it from her and the whole entire explanation. It's hilarious. We don't have to go into that, but it was really hilarious. No, we don't. Because I want you to talk about Sully and how, like, I think you tend to get really impressed by actors that you don't expect to. And you were just like, it was his first time. He'd never been at a supernatural convention before. And he was just getting such a kick out of
the energy he had, when he was on stage, and just, it was like the character he was playing when he was playing Sully, that he was that character. I mean, they definitely cast the right person in that part, but he was just through the roof, so happy and loves the fans, and just, he's just bubbling over with energy. And the J&J, they have done it so many times, they still put on an amazing performance, but they're very seasoned. Where the actor that plays Sully, every question is a first time getting asked that question. And so they are not pulling from their memory of previous times that question's been asked. They don't have just a cookie cutter type answer.
Mm-hmm.
He is just first off, he's telling the people how much he loves that question. Oh my God, yada da da. And then he starts giving this amazing answer to each question.
Yeah. It was really nice to have that. And so I was even more excited then that we'd actually we were going to do the photo op, and that kind of happened right after the panel. So the build up to it was, we went to the dollar store, I think the day before we left, because I was trying to figure something to use as a prop for the picture. And I was like, well, maybe I can find a book and I can just
something easy to pack.
Something easy to pack that I could just put something on or whatever. So I found this book at the dollar store, and it was it was originally called Sophia the something unicorn. So I was like, well, I'm just going to put sparkle over it and call it the sweetest manicorn. And then I found a picture of Sully that I put on the back that when he talks to Sam young Sam in the episode, it's like that ever think, and then they start, just different scenarios and stuff like that.
He's laid on his front, cupping his cheek in his hands. Yeah.
So I put that on the back of it just to kind of cover it up, because I knew it was going to be open, and I was like, well, this way there'll be something on either page. So we got into, this was our first photo experience at this convention. It was on a different floor altogether. It was on the lobby floor. So you had a good 3 or 4 minutes walk. If you walked, we decided just to take the escalator down, even though the escalator wasn't working.
So basically it was stairs.
It was stairs, but it was basically taking that down to the lobby. We felt like it would be quicker than waiting for the elevators, because granted, a lot of people going up, but it felt like a lot.
The elevators are also for people in the hotel at the same time. So it's not like you have a dedicated elevator take you from floor 2 to floor 1.
And it was right in the vendor's room to the elevator. So this way you had to walk out. So again, it was a little more of a roundabout walk, but this way we kind of got our bearings and we saw where it was located for the future photo op. So it was nice that it was away from everything. You can certainly interrupt.
So walking from the Supernatural convention to the escalator, that's now stairs, then doubling back to go all the way back for the photo shoot, we have to walk through another convention that's going on.
And that started setting up Friday night, right? Yeah, because it wasn't there the first night when we came in for COVID. Mm-hmm.
But was it
it was like a line dancing group.
Yeah. And so they had vendors selling incense and
jewelry. Yeah, it was the most opposite group that you can imagine. So it's funny going from like one to the other. It was just like, oh, this is so cute. But then people are looking at their stuff, and I'm sure people went in and looked at the other vendor stuff.
Well, if we weren't like on a
Yeah.
very, very tight timeline, I would have loved to have just kind of set up camp near where they do the line dancing just to see people's expressions that are here for some simple line dancing, and they're in normal clothing, and seeing people walk by with these very extravagant
Costumes,
get-ups
yeah.
and stuff.
Mhm.
I'm sure there were quite a
That would
few
be good.
very confused people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we did that. We got in line for our photo op, and I think who was in front of us? They were in cosplay. Was it a Sully and a Weems, the guy that plays air guitar? They were two girls, but I feel like one was dressed as Sully,
and one had
and one had like the mullet
hair.
wig. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. But then they saw my book. They're like, oh, that's so cute. I'm like, thanks. I just made it yesterday. And then, so we're getting ready. We're waiting. We're getting in line. And I was like, okay, Ted, I'm like, I guess we hold the book open, but hold it open to make sure that they can, we'll be able to see it.
They loved the book before we even got to the photo.
Yeah. Mom was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And Nate was like, oh, that's so great. And he did the pose on his side, and he's like, yeah, we're just all looking at the book. And they just did such a great job. I didn't even know that Nate had done that little thing on his chin, kind of resting it was so cute. It was the cutest. I love that. I love that one.
And so looking at once this photo is taken, and you wait like an hour or so, and then you go back and they lay out all the photos on a table for people to pick out their photos. Most people just did a big bear hug from him, which was, it fits his character. Sully.
He looks like the kind of guy that gives good hugs.
Yeah.
I've just spent while I've been listening to you guys, I've just spent a good 5 minutes going down Nate's IMDb. Like, I've fucking seen him in something else.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out I haven't, but maybe for one of those faces. And I'm like, he's been in something. I know he's been in something else. He has been in lots of things, but nothing I've seen.
Yeah.
But he's just got one of those faces that you're just like, you give good hugs, my guy. I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling back through our Twitter conversation to find pictures of you guys so I can refresh my memory now.
Yeah. So we
So when we did that photo shoot, we just looked at the book and held the book up, Sandra, make sure you tip the book up. You want to actually see it, not we're looking down at it. So that's what I was focusing on. Get the book up for everybody to be looking at. I had no idea what expressions were on either end of us. And I love this photo.
Yeah, it's cute. It's one of those like fun, like, oh, I'm glad we did that, out like that experience, with it. So, and I guess to connect the dots. So I ended up getting Sully's autograph later that night. So what I did was I just brought the book up to him and I just asked him to sign the back. So you can like do a little post-it for your name. So I said, to Ted and Sandra, and he wrote a little something on the back, but I made a point of saying to him, I was like, I just want to tell you, I really loved the video that you did for the series finale of Supernatural, where you basically were Sully giving Sam encouragement. I said, I thought that was the sweetest thing. And he's like, I had so much fun. Like, he's like, I really wanted to do that. He's like, I had a lot of feelings too about it. And I was just like, oh, well, it was so great. Thank you. And I was just like, so he signed that. And so now I have the photo op with the book on one of my shelves so that they're like, together and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a fun little reminder of it. So then I think in between that, we got Sam Smith Mary's autograph on in our autograph book, which is basically I can't remember. There'll be peace when you are done, that book. So I found a spot where close to a drawing of Mary, because not everybody's picture's in the book, so it's kind of like you have to get creative. So she signed it. I flubbed it up. We were supposed to be able to get 2 autographs by her because it was part of our silver ticket, but I'd only gotten 1. She's really sweet. And she's very pretty too in person. She's like really pretty in person too. So it was like, she had a vendor's table, like within everything else that was going on to sign. So that was that part of it. And then what else did we do? We came back that night, watched the Just My Imagination. Oh, and you got autographs from Donna and Jody.
Yes.
Damn.
And so
Damn.
there's
Sorry.
there's a spot in the
I have the
book.
biggest crush on Brianna. Sorry.
Yes.
Carry on.
Brianna's awesome. They're both awesome. And trying to remember who. Actually, I gotta give me 1 second away from this. I gotta grab the book to look at the autographs real quick.
Okay, here, I'll hold this. He's going off script.
Off
Okay.
script. Sorry.
All right,
Off
here we
script. Woo, we're leaving. I scrolled all the way back through our Twitter conversation to find it, and I had to scroll past all the what does Jensen smell like, what does Jared smell like, we did this and we did this, and I'm like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be like a 3-part by the time we're done. I swear, I text my husband when you were like, I'm gonna go get Ted, and I was like, okay. And I texted him and I was like, we've recorded one thing, but I might be a while. And he was like, how long is a while? And I was like, don't know, this is the post-con one. Could be fucking ages. Sorry. You guys are so their picture is so cute though. I love it with the book and it just it's cute. I wish we could share it, but like obviously I wouldn't put my face out there, so I'm not gonna ask you guys to put your faces out there as well.
I might. I'm still trying to figure that out. I
Maybe
have to
we
talk
could
to
put stickers over your faces.
We might
could
be
put
able to
stickers
do
over your
that.
faces.
Yeah, we
You know, just
could.
something. It's like little emojis or something.
Yeah.
It's cute. Or we'll be like, Ted is reading the book intently. Sandra is smiling. That is all you need to know. Look at these motherfuckers. Look how cute they are.
Okay, so I'm looking in the book here. We got a picture of Jody and
Tana.
Donna. And Donna did the first signing, and I said that we have Misha signed a photo early, another location in this book, and I was like, he doesn't do the best job of, he just basically writes right on through all of the text of the book for his autograph.
God.
And Brianna, she did the same thing. She signed through the text.
Mm-hmm.
It was Jody that I told her about.
She was excited
Misha.
about this. She said she hadn't seen this book.
Yeah,
right?
She hadn't seen the book. It was all new to her, and she actually started flipping through the book. I'm like, don't lose that page.
I'm not
I
leaving
told her
until you sign this page. So
because at this
I'll be
point
here.
it's probably got what half dozen or more
Yeah, I think so.
autographs. So it's like there are a bunch of people that signed it.
Aw.
And so she signed right through the text. And then when I went to the other table and got Jody to sign, I told her about Misha signing through the photo and under the text. And she looked at the page and I told her, but you know what? It's all right. Because she would not sign on the text because she didn't want to not just mess up the text on this page, but didn't want the bleed through of the marker to mess up the text on the other side. So she was thoughtful and she just signed a border around the page.
Yeah, and just FYI, so Brianna's signature is addressed to Ted, and Jody is addressed to Sandra. So I think he shares the a little bit of the crush aspect on Donna, and she was also in the like I said. You and Karlee could bond over the whole Repo Genetic Opera thing that we talked about. That you really liked that one. And she was supposed to. Her spot got taken out of that. Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I told you that.
You did tell me that.
Yeah,
I've watched Repo lots and lots of times. She's not in it, but I went through a frantic IMDb hunt, and I was like, "Well, she's fucking meant to be, but she isn't."
Yeah.
Like, but her name is that. It was weird, but yeah, I love Brianna so much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was about to go down a rabbit hole with the whole repo thing, but I'm not going to get into that.
That's
here.
another day. So we didn't end up staying for karaoke. Usually we do, but we were just really tired. So I think it was probably a really fun time, but we were just like, we're exhausted. Let's just go. We've got another bright and early day, Ted.
Yay!
So we're queuing half an hour earlier this morning, Ted. Get up.
Yeah, so it was our second. So Saturday comes around, and this was the big day. There was a lot of stuff going on this day. So there was a second early try for the photo ops. The line was even longer. People were camped out, even though we got there at 8 a.m. And again, Jensen sold out a few people before we got to the counter.
Is that the one where when we got in the line, they weren't even allowing people in past the vendor area yet?
Yeah, and then the other guy, security guy, let us through. Yeah, and I'm like, well, geez, I'm like, so how did all these other people get through? It's like it didn't make sense.
There are people already in line. Once the security guard let us go through the vendor area to the line, there were probably about 50?
Oh, no,
100
There
people already
there
in
weren't
line?
that many people. But it were more than last time. So I'd say at least 30 people, where the other day we were actually maybe only 20, but there were more people. They were sitting down, they were camped out. People were not playing
They
for
probably
that
spent the
day.
night.
They might have been there really early in the morning.
Maybe.
So
They wanted their baby shot.
yeah, so but I don't know. I heard a lot of people saying, I need my Jensen photo. I'll stay in line all night for that. So
I've
I'm
done
sure
that for concerts. I've
yeah.
never stayed out all night, but I've got
Mhm.
for concerts at like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning for a concert that's not going to start until
Yeah.
the doors aren't even going to open until 6 in the evening. It's not going to start until 7. The
Yeah.
band I want to see isn't going to come on until 9, but I'm like, we're fucking ready, guys. We're ready.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I heard Jensen and Jared are sold out. Jensen and Jared solos are sold out. So we're like, we were really only a couple people before we would have gotten there. So I was like, okay. It was funny though, like there was one father, I don't know what it was he was trying to get, but whatever he was trying to get, he would have had to buy two photo ops to get all of his family in there. And I heard him kind of having a heated discussion with the person at the counter because he wanted to buy two, but they were limiting it to only one ticket per person. And I think it might have been the quad or something like that. So whatever it was. So he's like, I'm not going to get this just for me. He's like, I don't understand. She's like, well, we're just trying to give
Fair.
everybody their fair try at it. So we're holding back a little each day. So he wasn't happy. He ended up not getting it. So then I went up to another person. I was like, okay, you don't have any Jensen. Do you have Jensen and Jared? No. I'm like, shit, I already knew there was no baby. I'm like, do you have the quad? And I was like, I really didn't know. I was like, I knew that one was expensive, but I was like, well, we didn't have a picture with Alex, who plays Jack. So I'm like, okay, that might make sense. And I think at this point, Karlee, had I already asked you if I got a Jared photo, I was like, I'll still try to put Ted in between us. But you were like, okay, at that point, it was like, it's fine if you touch him. It's okay. I can't remember. It might have been at that point.
No, it was on the day that you were going to do the quad stuff.
Yeah.
It was on the day. And I was like, because I'd started off being like, don't fucking touch him. I will have to come to Delaware. It's going to be a real problem. I'm going to feel really shitty about it, but I'm going to have to murder you. I'm sorry. I'm going to cry. I'm going to feel bad. However, this is what we're doing. So you were...
And I was prepared. I was like, we would just have to figure it out on the fly, depending on how they were lined up.
Yeah, apparently
were going to be...
they don't rearrange their whatever spot they are already planned to be in.
I don't
they
think
stay
that's
in
true
that spot,
though, because I've seen other ops where that's not the case. You just have to be a little more forceful, which we could always do another time. But we were just kind of like, anyway, that's the story for that one. But so and
you were going to be the Holy Spirit, Ted. You were going to be, because I was like, if you touch him, I will have to murder you. So she was like, no. I'll put Ted in between me and him. It's fine. I will not touch him. And also, bear in mind, we're already on thin ice with Sandra. Goodness, I forgot your whole last name then. Sandra and her fucking tulpa powers. Because the last time she was due to have a photo with Jared, he nearly died. So it's shaky, y'all. I'm like, maybe you can be in a photo.
So I waited. Yeah.
I would give you that article of clothing if he had put his hand on my shoulder or something, but Misha's the one that grabbed me.
I still think he might have touched you too, and you just don't realize it.
It wasn't where the camera could see.
It wasn't where the camera could see it. Yes. See, that did not happen with me and Jared. I can tell you that. I do know where the hand went, but it did not go. Yeah. So you might have more problems with Ted at this point than you do me. So anyway, we ended up getting the quad. I ended up being able to use pretty much all the credits, which totaled about 500. I had to spend a little bit more, but I'm like, okay, I'm never going to do this big one again. So let's just do it. Let's spend it. So got that one. So then at least I told Ted, thank God we don't have to get up early again on Sunday. You can sleep on Sunday. We can do that. So
that was nice.
We went back to the hotel.
Go ahead. He's touching you, Sandra. Sorry.
What?
I completely interrupted you then because I've gone and found the photo. He's got his arm on you.
He does, but I didn't tell him that. I did not ask, and I did stand in front, and I did give at least a foot. So he's a very tall man, and he has very long arms. So he decided to put his hand there. I did not ask for that.
No, it's fine. I was scrolling through. just because I did eventually. I relented. I was like, look, the reality of the situation is, even if like there's never going to be another UK supernatural con. Like some of the actors come from some of the cons we have over here, but J2 are never going to come over here. The show's ended. There's no monetary value in them coming over here. I'm never going to meet him. Like, it's never going to happen. So what is the point in denying one of my really good friends and be like, don't touch him, fuck you. Like I said to her, I was like, snuggle that man. And she was like, are you 100% sure about this? If you give me permission, I will snuggle him. And I was like, fucking snuggle him. Tell me what he smells like, which is insanely creepy when I say it out loud. But I was just like, you snuggle him. You tell me if he gives good hugs and tell me he smells good. I will live vicariously through you.
If it had been a Jared and Jensen one, I definitely would have gotten a snuggle from him. I have a feeling that was kind of like, that was kind of the MO from most of what I garnered from a lot of people who had photo ops with him and Jensen. Like he was the hugger and Jensen just kind of glommed on wherever he could, like unless it was stated. So it's like, Jensen just kind of hung on to them in the hug. So, but yeah, the way that one ended up working, and I've got a story about that one that's fun when we get to it.
Once we get to that, yeah,
once we get to that, I like that one.
Because I have a lot of opinions to profess about the photo itself and the arrangement and things. So yeah.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad to hear it. I can't wait. Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to wait until Sunday?
We'll get there when we get there.
Okay, all right. So we got that, went back to the hotel, rested. I got changed for my Jensen ops and my meet and greet. And so during all this, I was trying to figure out whether or not to try to sell my autographs for Misha and Jared, because I already didn't want to push the getting too close to Jared in any other situation. So like, well, maybe I can try to sell my autographs off of the passes. And then I was just like, you know what? If somebody really wants it, I'm just going to let them have it. I'd heard there was a sad story from this one girl that had gone. She'd been having all these issues. I was like, you know what? I'm like, you can just have the autograph from me for Jared on Saturday. And then I did the same thing for another Jared autograph. And then Misha, somebody else, wanted it. So I was like, okay, I'm like, well, we'll figure all this out. So in the middle of all of this craziness, I'm trying to also juggle between text messages and I don't ever want to do that again. It was a lot, but we managed to figure it out. So we came back for the Misha panel, which is good. And then I stayed for some of DJ. Did he put his foot in
his mouth?
He did not put his foot in his mouth this time. There was a lot of DC talk, a lot of stuff about Trump and important documents and stuff. So it was kind of leaning heavy towards politics.
Very subtle. Wasn't anything just
they
flat out
subtle. There were jabs at Trump. That was not subtle. I didn't think it was subtle. I didn't think
okay.
I mean, he's
burned.
Probably, it's probably just because we know him, like, and we know how anti-Republican he is. But I'm just like, no, did you accidentally out yourself as something else this time?
No, that he didn't do. He didn't do that this time.
I did not know before the panel that he actually had interned at the White House. Misha.
Yeah, he was there when Bill Clinton was there.
Yeah.
A few months, wasn't he? Yeah.
And apparently he was stealing the badges that they wear there by mistake. But like at the end of the day, you're supposed to turn in your badge, and he would go to lunch. He wouldn't turn his badge in. He'd come back from lunch. They'd give him a new badge. He'd come home with 2 badges a day, only to years later, he basically had like a little Christmas tree of badges.
Called like a mobile. Yeah.
A mobile. And then he managed to look on the back of it, which he had never.
I think one of his friends said one of his friends did and said, "Do you realize what this says?"
And it says exactly the same information that we're finding that Trump is going to be in a lot of trouble for taking stuff from the White House that is property of the White House.
Yeah. It's like fines, jail time, like all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, so all that stuff there. So no, it was a good. He didn't put his foot in his mouth when it came to anything this time. Thank God. And
I would have loved it if he had.
Well, there's another whole thing though, honey, that yeah.
He doesn't follow the con stuff. So at the last con you guys went to at New Jersey, he was doing, I think it was like a breakfast thing. And he came out and he was like, God, I can't even remember what he fuck. Who's an introvert? Who's an extrovert? Like, but show of hands, cheers, whatever. Who's an introvert? Who's an extrovert? who's bisexual, because ha 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 ha, it's always funny, isn't it? And someone turned around and went, "What are you?" And he went, "Oh, I'm all three," and outed himself as bisexual, and then waited like the entire rest of the con. I don't think he corrected it until Monday. He was like, "It has come to my attention that I said this, and this could be construed as me coming out as bisexual, and I'm not, and I'm a fierce ally, and blah blah blah." And I'm still fucking mad about it. And how
Yeah.
long has it been since you guys went to New Jersey? And I'm still mad.
Yeah,
So
rightly.
fuck you, Misha.
Yeah,
I'm still mad.
yeah. There was a lot of
But
could have been done.
if you
a
don't
lot
like
differently,
Twitter
yeah.
and you don't sort of follow the fandom, you're not supposed to know that.
Yeah,
I
no,
wish I didn't
he
know
uses
that.
me. Ted uses me for like, what's going on?
Yeah. No, this has been largely forgotten by the fandom because the only people who were pissed off about it were bi, pan, polysexual people, and we're routinely ignored anyway. So there was a lot of straight people going, "Oh, it was just a slip of the tongue," and a lot of gay people going, it's fine," and a lot of bi people going, "It's fucking not."
Yeah.
And we got ignored.
Yeah.
So everybody's moved on now. It's not even like it's not even a thing. But I'm still mad.
Until he does something else again that actually we do have an interest. So Jessica and Ted and I had a discussion a little bit about Misha and about how, like, again, it could just be his personality, and he doesn't know how to distance himself or play up the character actor, like, being on all the time and realizing, it's a job, and maybe don't put a lot of your emotion into it. But I think she kind of had the same reaction to Misha's. He's kind of like a little prickly, like you don't really kind of know what you're going to get with him. It's kind of like,
I get that vibe.
yeah,
my numerous interactions with
yeah. So like I get it. Some people just can't. You just can't turn that off and on. I think Jensen might be the only one that can really just play that without breaking a lot. And Misha's very mercurial, like you just don't know what you're going to get. And you could sometimes feel offended, even if maybe that's not his intention. Of course, not talking about what happened at New Jersey, but just like in general, like his normal interactions. He's just kind of hit or miss. So honestly, that's kind of why I'd had his autograph, and I didn't want to stand in line again just to figure out what am I going to get this time? Like, what's going to happen with Misha this time at the counter. So again, like,
that's kind of sad though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you think like you pay these cons are not cheap, and then the autographs and the photos and everything, it's not cheap. It's really expensive. And to be standing in the middle of it going, "Do you know what? I'm just not even going to do this because I don't know if he's going to be an asshole like he was last time."
Yeah.
That's sad. Get it together, Misha. I know you're listening as well, but I don't feel bad if you're crying in the car like I do when I slag off Jared and Jensen.
I feel bad.
Did a bad thing, and you should feel bad.
I feel bad more for the ones that really are like just so waiting to meet him. Like I can at least say that my interactions with Jensen have not disappointed. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine. I remember hearing at the New Jersey convention, like a couple of, I think it was a mother and a daughter in front of us. And the daughter was really like, she sounded very despondent and heartbroken at her interaction with Misha, that it was not what she expected. Aww. And that's kind of sad. It's like, and it sometimes doesn't always have to be just because somebody's being a little more flashy or is doing a lot to get your attention. The quiet ones, the ones that, have just are behind the scenes, sometimes they love you just as much, and they just want, a couple, they just want to smile, or they just want, something, and to not get that, I think it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Where were we at for those first photos?
That first one was Charlotte with him and Ruth. Yeah, when we still had the plexiglass.
And he definitely was withdrawn.
That was the one where everybody was saying he was really off. Yeah.
But there was stuff going on. I don't know if I'm supposed to even talk about.
Everybody knew about his divorce and stuff.
His divorce was going on, and that really tainted how he was there. And like, that's a human being. It's not like he can turn on and turn off what's going on in his life.
My caveat to that is you are getting paid. This is your job. Like just how we have to you have to turn it off and on for work. Like you have to show up and do your job. Like to me.
And if you can, don't show up. Jared's pulled out when he was really struggling with mental health. I would call it being fucking insane, but I don't know if he describes his mental health that way.
Mm-hmm.
But Jared's pulled out before and been like, I actually cannot come and do this and be a person and give the fans the experience that they deserve. So a divorce is horrible. They've been together a long time. Pull out then.
Yeah, give yourself the time to get through that so that it's not, I don't know. He's there's a little something about Misha. Just can't figure it out. Like, I struggle with him, I think, the most. Like, but I probably also could probably get him the most out of how he's acting. Like I can understand it, but I'm like, but dude, this is your job. People want to see you. They want to experience you in a way that reminds them of why they love the show and they love the character. And so, you got to turn it on. Like you got to.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's pissed he's not pulling in the kind of bank that Jared and Jensen are pulling in from these fucking things.
Yeah, because a lot of people were saying how the meet and greets and stuff used to be, Misha's stuff used to go for, I think, a lot more than, again, I could just be hearing this and it could not be accurate, but that he was making a lot more money with some of his meet and greets than even Jensen and Jared were, because, Cass was such a popular character. So I don't know if now, because he does the meet and greet and then he also does that dinner with Misha, like adventure thing. So he's probably just has so many things that people are trying for that one's canceling the other one out kind of stuff, so
maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, so he's a whole package. So then what did we do next? Okay, I'm looking at my notes. We stayed for the cosplay contest. And then I stayed for some of the David Hayden Jones thing and then went to my Jensen meet and greet. Then after that was autograph time.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
as much as I want to ask, Sandra does sign NDAs for those meet and greets. So we're not allowed to disclose any questions that might have been asked.
No, I can say that in comparison to the first one, and I was talking to Ted about this, I feel like I got a really good comparison of how when everything goes right for a meet and greet and how when things don't necessarily go your way for a meet and greet. So for this one, I was in the back row. So I didn't even know what shoes he was wearing when he walked in. And he looked fabulous. He looked amazing. He was great. He was interactive. It was all good, but I didn't get to ask my question. So
he wasn't wearing the radio company t-shirt. That was on the Sunday, wasn't it?
He
was wearing that.
I just know he was wearing a leather jacket. I couldn't even tell you what shirt he was wearing underneath. Like that's how little of my vantage I had. And he really didn't. He wasn't as moving around and animated as he was at the New Jersey one. But again, it was
not everybody gets a question.
Not everybody got their question. I was one of the ones this time that didn't get my question. I didn't get picked and I didn't get my question asked. So I told Ted, I said, you know what? I said, now I've gotten the best. I understand. Best, not so great. I don't think I'll ever spend that much money on a meet and greet again because you just don't. No. And I knew that going in, but I kind of needed to have the actual experience of it and be like, okay, this is what it's like when it doesn't go your way. So yeah, so that, and again, it was great. I was glad I did it, but it definitely wasn't like the same, the same experience, which was okay.
But now you can have an all new appreciation for how great that first one was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was just, that was amazing. It was just, that was a great one. So then we
went to two different concerts. And the first concert that you go to, you manage to meet the band before the show, and you tell the drummer that it's your birthday. You have a big badge on that says it's my birthday or like happy birthday or something. And because you've been there for like 10 hours, you get right to the front and you're right in front of the lead singer, and he notices your badge and he points to you during the middle of a song. And then when that song ends, he goes and talks to the drummer for a little minute, and then he comes back and then he wishes you happy birthday personally, and he gets the whole crowd to sing you happy birthday. And it's the best thing that fucking happened to you in your entire life. And it gets put on YouTube, so you can download it and keep it forever. And then the second time you go, it's just a normal concert.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I
it was
get
kind
it.
of it was all that. It was all that. So I think I kind of felt I was happy, but I felt a little deflated when I came back. And by that time, Ted had
Yeah.
found my photo ops that he'd gotten. He went and waited and showed them to me, and that got me happy again. And then it was autograph time and whole debacle. I won't go into like a lot of details. I was supposed to get a Funko Pop signed. It was not in the condition I thought it was going to be. So what we had done
Oh.
is I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I'd gotten like a little glass etching that was reminiscent of the Eat Pie, Kill Demons neon sign that they had done for like the 300th episode party. So I saw that in the vendor's room and I'd gotten that. So in between all of that waiting and stuff, I had figured something out, and I'll talk about the fangirl moment after because that's a thing. But Ted had to leave because Ted wasn't
Yeah.
feeling good, so I was on my own basically for all that. So
Okay, so this is normally the part of any given podcast where we would go, hey, our sponsor today is, but we ain't sponsored. So we just have some causes, some charities that we'd like to bring to your attention, point you in the direction of if you feel able or willing to donate to them. We have three main sort of causes, inverted commas, that we're promoting feels like the wrong word, but like signposting, highlighting, if you will. So the first one is to do with the conflict in Ukraine, the Russian invasion unlawfully of Ukraine. So we would just like to draw your attention to World Central Kitchen, which, as it sounds like, is, helping to feed people that are affected by this conflict. Although it's dropped out of the media quite a bit now, there's still a hell of a lot of people in the Ukraine that are trapped, that are cut off, that are struggling for food and water and basic supplies. So that's what that charity is there for. We have Kids Save, which, again, as the name suggests, is looking out for the children that are affected by this. I mean, conflict feels like the wrong word. It's, it's an unlawful invasion. But yeah, Kids Save. And then we have, if you don't feel you can or want to commit to just one single charity, we also have a link to the global giving page for the Ukraine Crisis Relief Fund, which obviously is then split between various different places that it needs to go. It's sort of the global equivalent of a GoFundMe or a Just Giving page. So we have that. And then for those of you that are in the US, and oh Lord, we know it's hard right now. We do. So we have the Mums Demand Action, Ending Gun Violence, the Sandy Hook Promise, advocate for gun regulation in your state, wherever you may be. We have the American Civil Liberties Union, which is, basic human rights. Come on, people. It doesn't feel like it should be this hard, but somebody needs to give your government a kick up the ass and be like, hey, it's not this hard. You're making it harder than it is. And then, of course, Vote.Gov, look up the voting regulations in your state, in your area, find out what you need to do, be informed, be prepared, because that is the best way to enact any kind of change. And that doesn't just go for the US, that goes for the UK, anywhere else. Educate yourself. Know what you need to do so nobody can catch you out. Last cause, definitely not least, LGBTQ plus people. My folks, we are under attack. There's no easy way to say it. There's no nice way to say it. People want us dead, yo. It's really heavy in the US. It's coming in the UK, and it's fucking hard. There's no one cause fits all for this. There's nothing particularly global. And to be honest, I didn't really want to signpost to any, causes that are fighting against this. I want to bring this down more to people. We're not a statistic. Everyone's a person. So the causes I want to signpost are Switchboard LGBT in the UK and the Trevor Project in the USA. And they are both services where you can reach out, you can be connected to people to talk to. It's hard. We need to come together, guys. So if you need to talk to somebody, if you need help, if you are not safe where you are, these charities will help you. Reach out to them, even if it's just someone to talk to, even if it's just someone to go, this fucking sucks. If you need that help, reach out as well. For anyone outside of the US and the UK, I'd like to draw your attention to the Trevor Project. Again, they have resources for international LGBTQ plus people, youth. We know that as much as it's hard in our countries, it's a hell of a lot harder in some other countries, and it's not easy to come out. It's not easy to be safe. So take a look at that link for some resources, some places to go for help, some ideas of how to keep yourself safe. So again, it's not a sponsor. We wish we had a nice, fun sponsor to bring you, but we know that it's hard, and we just want to point you in the direction of help for others if you can give it, and help for yourself if you need it. So back to the podcast, I guess.
Yeah, but that was
On
Sunday.
Sunday, I'll have to scroll back
This
down
was
for that
Sunday
one.
main panel. I'm trying to remember what he was wearing at the gold panel in the morning.
I think that was the radio. That was
That
the
might have been
radio
it.
show, radio company one.
Yeah.
Because he's all fancy pants with like his radio company shirt and his leather jacket, and it's all nice. And Jared looks like a hobo, like absolutely 100% looks like he picked up the first shirt he found on the floor. And I remember discussing it with you and D and being like, "My dude, why? Please,
Dude, why?
don't want you to be as. I don't want you to drop like, 5-7K on a jacket, but could you find a different flannel, because that one's gross." This is the recurring theme as well, Ted. She shares con photos with us, and then I get really mad about what Jensen's wearing, and then she tells me how much it costs, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Fucking how much for a t-shirt?" That fucking t-shirt he was wearing to Indy was like $100 for a t-shirt that looks like it's got paint on it.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? Sorry.
Yeah. But he
No,
looks
he's
really good
radio
in
company.
everything though, so I can't fault him for that. So if he wants to spend the
I'm
money.
gonna point you towards that convict shirt. And
Oh
say,
no, that one was really bad. Yeah, that one was bad. And that cost a lot of money. Yes.
Backing up just a little bit to your meet and greet.
Mhm.
When we got set up at the hotel, we got the venue where they have the stage where, different actors go on stage, do the panels. For the photos, you go down one story down below, but then for the meet and greet, you have to go up to another floor higher up.
Mhm.
So we went to scout out how to find it. So Sandra, when she's on her own, will be able to find it easily. So we get to that floor and we're immediately
Stopped.
And we said, we're just scouting out, just figure out where to go for the meet and greet. Like, you're here. This is where you go. You can go back. So we went to turn around and just happened to notice, like, wait, that guy looks familiar. That just walked right past us. The band that
It was Loud and Swain. It
Loud and
was
Swain.
Rob and I think
it was
Billy?
the lead guitar,
Yeah,
the
Billy.
two guitarists,
Yeah, Billy and Mike.
and the drummer.
And they waved.
I noticed the hair on the drummer as the guy walks on. I'm like, that looks, whoa, hey. And I did like a fist bump. I'm like, I see you. I'm not going to be a fan, like run up to them. I'm going to let them go where they need to go. But it was kind of cool.
also like, ooh.
Yeah. And I was like,
cool.
okay. I'm like, I guess a lot of people are doing this.
Yeah, I also have a reasonably large crush on Billy. I think he's really cute.
Mhm.
Just like 14-year-old Karlee would have been a more
I say that he looks like Johnny Depp with his goatee. A younger
Yeah.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
14-year-old Karlee was in love with young Johnny Depp, so there's a theme here. There's a theme here. I love that. He was like, we tried to get backstage effectively, and we got told off, but we saw the band.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it
I
was
love it.
fun, and Ted was like, "Oh look," and I'm like, turned around, I'm like, "Oh hi." It's like, okay, not what I thought was going to happen, but yay! So that was fun. So Sunday comes around, everything was delayed by an hour because Alex's flight was delayed, so everything on the schedule was pushed back. It was just a shit show. It was so funny. Nobody knew what was going on. When we were going to ops and things. It was just it was a mess. So
Well, my prediction was accurate as far as how they handled baby.
Yes, because we didn't know what they were going to do since baby was outside.
Parked right in front.
And they were going to do the Jensen Jared baby photos that morning.
And I already knew. It's like, everybody's going to be walking down the street, want to take pictures of these famous people getting pictures taken with this random car. They wouldn't know anything about the show. So I told Sanders, like, they're going to put up a curtain. You're not going to see the car tomorrow. So, we came back the next morning and lo and behold, there's this giant black curtain. That's like, what, about 8 feet or 6 feet tall?
Than that, I think, yeah.
So there's no way to see what's going on behind us. Like, see, There it is.
You called it. You were right.
I'm not
You
going
were
to give away
absolutely
free
right.
photos.
Yeah, I know. I know.
No.
Yeah, and
So,
some of
was
them are
your
really
Jensen,
nice.
Was your Jensen off? When was your Jensen solo off? Because he's wearing different clothes, Sandra. When
So
was
that
it?
was Saturday. That was Saturday. Yeah.
So we're on Sunday and we skipped all the way over the Woman, please rewind a little bit. Let's tell us about the progression of Jensen photo op that Sandra has had.
Okay. So then Ted's got to listen to me fangirl again. Okay, so
Are there any other books I have to go search
no,
for?
don't go searching
I could
for any
go
other
away.
books. It's fine. So I went down, I was getting ready. I had gotten two photo ops from before. So I asked around, I said, can I get them done at the same time? Because I didn't want to run back in line again. So, and I felt like at least this would give me a chance to kind of like, do one pose and then segue into another. And everybody was like, yeah, just check with them in the line, and they'll whatever like the lower number is, you should be able to take both of them at the same time. So I was in like the first batch of 100. And so getting in line, it is just funny how different the vibe is. Like when it's a Jensen line, like all the ladies are like fixing themselves up in the line. There's a lot of hair touching. There's a lot of like heavy breathing, like fanning themselves and just like, getting ready. It's a totally different thing. Like it's just amazing when it's like a Jensen solo one. So
do you know what I thought when you said that? You were like, I was in the first 100, and I was like, oh, so that's what what he smells like. It wasn't like 4 hours later when he sweated off every single piece. I think
that has something to do with
cologne he might have put on.
But honestly, I made a point of saying to myself, you've got to try to let your smell sense work and get an idea of what you have to try to be in the moment as much as you can. So I was like working myself up and stuff, and ladies are like passing us by and going, oh my God, he looks good. Oh, and all this stuff. And so then I was in line waiting, on the other side of the curtain. So you could see the women going in and coming back out. And I actually saw, I'd seen her picture. So I recognized her, even though I didn't actually talk to her. I think she's Sarcasm Queen on Twitter. And so I saw her go like getting in line ahead of me. Like she's maybe like a dozen people ahead. And it's funny because I remember her mentioning something like on another tweet that she'd bought really high heels for her picture with Jensen. So I kind of like peeked over. I'm like, yep, those are pretty high heels she's got on. And I saw her come in, and then I saw her go out, and she was fanning herself, and she was just like in a daze. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm in for now. So I'm slowly going up there. He had a new security person with him that I'd never seen before. It was a dude in a really big, like a tall dude suit, very like almost like special security, like that kind of detail, like off to the side.
Hey, he works with Amazon now.
That's what I was figuring too. I feel like they're just having to be a little more careful too with things that are happening. So but again, the handlers were actually really good with Jensen. I felt like, I saw him. I saw people going up. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Sandra, you could do this. You can ask. And so I knew I wanted to ask for a selfie, and then I wanted to ask for a hug. So I said, okay, if I can't ask the handler, I'm going to ask Jensen. I'm going to do this. So I think because I had the 2 tickets, maybe that through, maybe I don't know if I got extra attention or whatever, but like the handler, made a point of like, asking me, okay, so what do you want for the first one and what do you want for the second one? I said, can I have a selfie from up high, and then can I get a nice big hug? And then so I went in and it's like, hi, and just like the camera goes up. I didn't realize, I should have known. I smiled it was
no,
like Christmas.
It's a beautiful
smile.
It's cute.
So
you have a beautiful look. Your husband is here to back me up. You have a beautiful smile, and it's so
absolutely.
But it was like beaming, like, oh my gosh, like all of my teeth, like everything was just like, yes. And then I just swooshed in for a hug, and I planted my head on his chest.
And I tease her about when you look at the photo, the fact they're both wearing, is it both of you wearing black?
Both wearing black, and even,
so you two merged together in the photo.
He has like silver buttons, and like my stuff was kind of like silvery
See,
too.
you guys got that link.
Yeah, we got that psychic
Yeah.
link or whatever. But no, I did.
She even saved the post-it note. It's on. I'm looking at the photo mounted on the wall now. Can you tell me? I can't read it from here. What does it say?
It was a thing I had on my desk every day, the start of 2022, and it said, "I will hug Jensen Ackles in 2022." So I looked at that every day, and I reminded myself that I was going to do that. So I did.
I'm so fucking proud of you.
I gave him a hug. I smelled him.
You don't have any other secret post-it notes around?
No, I don't have any other secret post-it notes that have anything involving Jensen Ackles at all. No, I do not.
No, there's one that says, "I will kidnap Jared Padalecki and mail him to the UK."
Mail him to Karlee. Oh, so
just
yeah,
because obviously no one else is going to have seen your con photos. Sandra and Ted have been to 3 different cons now, and Sandra now has a progression of Jensen pictures. So the first one in Charlotte was still with plexiglass, so obviously they're not touching at all. And then New Jersey, he put his arm around you, and she was like, "And I just fucking
I didn't remember anything.
I have no idea what happened. I have no idea." And this time, she got a full-on hug. So I want to know what photo 4 will be, but I feel like it's not for public consumption.
No,
she's got the whole gamut of Jensen now.
I have ideas if I do another one. I've actually got a couple ideas now that kind of fall in line with things I've either heard him say or my experience with him at the autograph now. So I have some ideas as to what I might do again. But yeah, so I mean, and he smells. I talked to you about it. He kind of smells like either right before a rain or right after, but like when everything feels like it's like a little charged and clean, and like the air just smells like different. Because I
ionized.
Yeah, because I smelled something like that at the meet and greet don't look at me with that look on your face, in New Jersey. And then because I was trying to like figure out what it was, but then and he definitely smelled like spicy. So some people were saying they think he was wearing that Tom Ford tobacco and vanilla, and I've never smelled that, so I don't know. So maybe I have to actually go somewhere and smell that and see if that matches.
You have to go and find a scent. So just quick plug, because I spent 4 months of my fucking life on this. If you go to my O3 page, you will find the latest fic that is up there is entitled "Birthdays, Winchester Sandwich Smile," and in there is a description of how Dean might smell, and it is based on real life information from Sandra. She told me how he smelled, and I incorporated it. Not only did I incorporate it, I checked back with her and I was like, "Did I get it right?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's pretty close."
Yes. So that was accurate smell. And I mean, we could ask others who've also inhaled him, but I have a feeling that that's kind of accurate as to what he does to the room or what he does to the air.
You need to bring a little glass jar with you for the next one and just open it when you go in. And just kind of capture the air and seal it. Even though you won't be able to smell it inside, you know that air is the air that imbibes the essence that you smelled.
Well, I'm not washing my little cardigan ever again. It's just hung up in my closet. I'm not doing. Ted's like, "You should put it in a shadow box." I'm like, "I'm not doing that. That's a bit much." He's like, "But you should." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not though." But I'm never washing that one again. It's just in my closet.
Can I make a campaign for vacuum sealing it, and we can mail it around the world, and then me and Dee can experience the experience as well, and then we'll mail it back. Like, it's fine.
Mail it back. I've got to do it quick though before we lose the essence.
To set you up to be able to capture with a little vacuum seal is run a little tube up your sleeve,
honey,
and get a hug. And when you're hugging with your other arm, you basically activate the pump to suck the air in, and it'll be captured. There you go.
See, this is where he gets a little over overboard. I'm gonna say
what
no.
do you do for a job again, Ted? Now I have questions. But what exactly is it that you do?
Can't disclose that information here.
Yeah, that's somebody's thought about this. Somebody really loves their wife and wants to say one Christmas. They're like, "Baby, I got you the one thing I know you've always wanted. It's Jensen air." I'll fucking die. Oh god, that would be great.
So that was my op experience with him, and it made up for, like, again, like the meet and greet after, like, I think was kind of, so it was kind of like a roller coaster on Saturday. Should I talk about the autograph now then, and just like what happened Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we were going in.
Okay, do a little precursor.
The
what?
roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, ups and downs. So, you know, got to the convention, everything's going great. You got to do your meet and greet, and like it didn't kind of
compare,
didn't act the way that it had the previous time. And then I'll leave the floor to you to talk about the highest point of this trip.
So again, like I wish I had recorded it and could remember every single thing. Go ahead.
Since it is the best thing ever, do you want to save it till the end? It's kind of I don't know, because I have a lot of thoughts. Yeah, you did, and that's great because it's fucking great. Because I told my husband, I was like, she did this. Fucking this isn't that great, and he was like, "Oh, all right," and I was like, "No, it's great. Shut up."
Well, how about this?
We could do these things.
Yeah, we could do this. We'll let Ted go through maybe Sunday stuff because he's got experiences that I know he wants to talk about, and then I can let him. He doesn't have to hear me talk about it again.
Well, because if I try to retell the story, I'll just butcher it. So I need to hear you.
Okay, well, let's talk about Sunday, and let's talk about the quad photo op that we did.
Yeah, because I don't want my conversation about the closest I'm ever going to be to Jared Padalecki by proxy overshadowed by Jensen fucking Ackles again. Okay, he overshadows everything. No matter what Jared does, Jensen's done it better. Jared can play guitar. Oh, Jensen sings and plays guitar. Jared can act. Jensen got on an Amazon show. No! Give my boy 5 minutes. And then we'll talk about the best thing that's ever going to happen to any of us.
Karlee, by any chance, do you have an older sibling that overshadowed you? Because I do, and I definitely see that scenario playing out with what you were just
I do not.
No.
I do not. I'm an only child. There's only me. So I'm inherently very selfish. I want it to be my way. I want what I want because I don't share well.
So I think we should talk about with the quad photo, right? So we were going.
Are we going to talk about Ted being wiped out by Cass though? Because I'm like, are you dead? Are you sleeping? What's happening?
So that happened after. That was after.
All right, okay.
So I figured we go in order. But if you want, we can do the casting first.
No, it's fine. I opened all the pictures that you sent through. So that was one of them. And I was like, I want to talk about these.
Yeah. No, so I guess I'm going again, notes going in order of like when they happened. So quad, photo op.
Quad.
Okay. Had we seen Jack on stage at this point?
We hadn't yet. We saw him after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed in the hair that
Karlee loved it.
Wow. There's an actor here in the States that has not been a very good person, and he looks like him when he's in his hair. And so the guy from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, Pete Davidson? That's what everybody was saying he looked like. They said he looked like Pete Davidson.
Now I gotta Google some stuff.
Oh boy, I gave you some homework.
Saturday Night Live over here.
He's just
he's the one that was dating Kim Kardashian.
That man is a drug addict.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no, I see it with the hair though.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people were saying that.
Yeah.
The first picture that came up, he had dark hair, and I was like, "Ew, no, that man does all of the heroin." And then I saw the bleach hair, and I was like, "Oh no, I see it now."
Yeah.
But good news is,
okay,
like, I mean, he's going to be in the Boys spinoff.
Yeah,
so it's like Gen V, which I think should be really great for him. So excited about that.
Oh, it's a spinoff. I thought it was coming to season 4. Oh no, it's too late for him to be announced.
I think it's like the college kids or like the young kids that are like at school, or kind of like an X-Men. I think is kind of like what the vibe is supposed to be about the show. From what I've heard, I could be totally wrong, but I think it's like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
okay.
So the quad. So I'm trying to remember what we were doing. So we headed down.
Well, we were in
line a while, right? When they were getting ready for the quad. Because we saw Cliff, we saw Jared at some point, like off to the side.
Honestly, I can't remember the exact amount of time or how I feel like how long we stood.
I felt like it was a long time we waited. We were trying to figure out what the pose was going to be. And I kept thinking about this one video I'd seen of Misha with Jared and Jensen at I think it was a Nerd HQ, and they were talking about the labored breathing or the CW smolder. So I showed Ted the video where, like, Jared and Jensen are posing and Misha does this crazy smile. And I said, well, why don't we just ask them to do the smolder? And he's like, are they going to know what you're talking about? I said, yes, they're going to know what I'm talking about. And
I don't think Jared got the assignment, to be honest.
It was a small smolder. I think I just don't think he like fully committed.
Well, he was also throwing one extra task in right before the photo.
Oh, yes.
So that kind of changed a little
So
bit.
what happened was, so we're in line, we're getting ready to go. And now the handler for the quad I felt was not the same person. And so again, like Karlee, I guess Saturday night must have just changed me as a person, because I was like, right away I go up to the handler. I'm like, can we ask them to do the smolder? And she's like, well, you can just ask them yourselves. And I'm like, okay. So so and big surprise, I beeline towards Jensen, but Jared was like right next to him. And so I think I mainly asked Jensen and looked over at Jared, but I'm like, okay, can you guys do the smolder? And Jensen's like, smolder. Got it. And what did you hear somebody say?
Well, no, it was after the photo was done. Then I heard somebody say, what was the smolder? Or something like that. So I think that might have been Jack, but he still pulled it off.
Jack still did a smolder, but
no. We're going to talk about this right now.
Okay.
Talk about this because I'm looking, because obviously we cannot share these photos because they have your guys' lovely faces in them. But it's like, so in a lineup from left to right, it's Misha, Ted, Jared, Sandra, Jensen, Jack, Alex. Alex is on the right hand side, and Misha is pulling. You know what? Like, there's something far away he wants to look at, but he's not quite got to squinting his eyes yet. He's like, you know, when you widen them and then squint them and then widen them again in the hopes that it will help.
Yeah.
It's on the widen stage.
Yeah.
Ted's smiling. It's lovely. Jared's doing something with his face. I don't think he got the assignment because that's not a smolder. That's like, I don't know, like if you gave him like 5 more seconds, maybe it would have become one. But
so here's the
like
thing.
Raising his eyebrows.
There's a story to that. So what happened was, as soon as I said smolder, I heard Jensen say smolder, got it. And as I turned, I'm like, oh, and it's my husband's birthday. So I didn't hear this, but I know I wasn't going to tell Ted that I was going to, but I knew I was going to just state it and see if anybody said anything. So he said that Padalecki, as you like to call him affectionately, said what?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. You say happy birthday, dude?
Yeah, happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday, dude. So I think in the middle of him saying happy birthday, dude, and then him trying to smolder, I think that's what we got.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see that.
/smolder.
Yeah, that was the birthday /smolder look on Jared's face.
Yeah. With that extra information, it does look like he's kind of like pulling back from having like leaned in to be like happy birthday.
Yeah.
So she's pulling his face. Sandra looks like a cat that got the cream. It's incredible.
I was just like,
she's right in the middle. She's right in the middle of the frame. Jared is touching her. We don't know where his other hand is. Could be on Misha. We don't know. Ted will not verify. We don't know. But Jared's got his hand on her shoulder, and then Jensen's next to him looking fucking perfection. Absolute gold star, blue steel smolder. Fucking nailed it. And Jack looks like somebody's kid that couldn't be left on their own, so they've been brought to work and been told to just stand there quietly. I shit you not. He's in a hoodie. He's got his hands in his pocket, slouching. He's like,
hey, that was just somebody that paid for a photo op, and he just happened to just want to merge in with ours.
He just snuck in.
Genuinely, all the rest of them. I mean, Misha's doing whatever he's doing. Jared's in between faces. Jensen's committed, and Jack, Alex, just genuinely looks like someone just shoved him in and went, the shot's uneven. We need another person. Like, it's unbalanced. Go stand on this side. And do you know what? He's the cutest out of all of them. Even with Jensen's full on smolder, Jack is just so cute. Like, he's just like, I'm tired. I'm jet lagged. This is not what I want to do with my life.
I just felt so emboldened.
Cute.
I was just surprised that I just went straight up to him. I'm like, okay, we've had a moment that I'm always going to remember. So right now I'm just going to talk to you like we are buddies. And I'm just like, okay, can we do the smolder? And he was just like, smolder got it. So I don't remember Jared touching me. I'm sorry. I wish I'd known. I think I blanked again just because so much was going on after I said happy birthday. I didn't even hear Jared tell my husband happy birthday. So again, like I blanked out again, but I was just so like, again, I was kind of proud of myself and just like, yeah, he touched me.
I didn't like directly look at him when he said it. Mm-hmm. Almost like he leaned in and said it into my ear.
He whispered it to you, baby. That's Karlee's gonna be.
You know, I always thought my trip to Delaware was going to be to murder Sandra, and as it turns out, it's going to be Ted. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I think Jared, I believe Jared's got his other hand on you as well. I think Jared's hand is on your other shoulder. We just can't see it.
And Jared are fighting.
They're fighting over you.
Battling to try to get
they're like, we want all of this.
That is accurate because I've just zoomed in, and unless Misha has one more finger that he's never told anybody about, that is exactly what's going on. That is exactly what is going on. I genuinely, if I take Alex in his, Misha's face is the funniest because he just looks like he's just trying to see something that's really far away. Oh god! When they're not obviously on mic and feeling under pressure, I will have a chat with these guys and see if they would be okay with us blurring their faces out so we could do you.
Yeah, I think that's doable.
Y'all need to see Misha's face and I keep calling him Jack. Alex, it's just fucking great. It's really funny.
And I do remember saying thank you to Alex on the way out. I don't know if he even heard me because I think the dude was just tired. But I did say thank you. I remember to him directly. But honestly, like I don't even remember Misha. I just straight through. And I guess I told Ted
we could
going into it. I was like, Ted, I'm going right in the middle. I'm sorry. Just need to
we could cut out Ted and Misha on one side and Alex on the other side, and it would just be you framed by Jared and Jensen.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm going in the middle. I'm going in. I'm like, honey, fend for yourself.
Figure it out, fucker. Figure it out. This is where I'm gonna be. You figure your shit out. Yeah. It's a really great photograph. And you genuinely she looks so pleased with herself, guys. So fucking pleased. I think if I had been in that situation with Jared, I would be a crying mess. But she's just like, this best thing that fucking happened to me. Absolutely. Yes.
So now I think
no.
Okay.
No, because we talk about Jensen and you're off with him and how he smells. And tell me about Jared. Tell me
so
how
I told you I had to ask.
How did you have to look?
I had to ask my friend, my wait in line friend Jessica, because she'd had two photo ops, I think, with Jared. And I was like, so I said, I blanked out again. I said, can you please tell me what he smells like so I can tell my friend Karlee in the UK? And she said he just felt he smelled. She felt him too, but I didn't ask how he felt.
No.
That he smelled very clean out of the shower with like minty, like almost like a bubble gum mint, like that kind of like thing. So that's what I got. That's what I passed along. I don't think I was close enough to him to smell him. Again, you can't really see it in the picture, but I really didn't I didn't lean back into those men. Like I was like, I still wanted to give a little bit of space, just out of courtesy for Karlee. Ted this obviously didn't care at all and just went right in for it and just got all sorts of, I think there's shoulder on chest action there, Ted. I think you leaned in pretty heavy to Jared.
Yeah, I think after
I'm going to be honest,
the shoot, I realized my shirt was unbuttoned too.
Well, yeah, he was showing some extra there too. Yeah. I was like, Ted, what are we going for?
I think Misha might have done that.
Misha did that. Yeah. His massaging of your shoulders.
He looks like it. He does look like he's in the middle of giving you quite an aggressive shoulder rub. But again, another way in which Alex is in no way part of this. So Misha's got his hand on Ted's shoulder. Jared's also got his hand on Ted's shoulder. They're fighting. Misha's got his other arm on Jared's shoulder. Jared's got his other arm on Sandra. Jensen's got his arm on Jared's shoulder and his other arm like hooked into his belt, and Alex's hands in his pocket slouching. So like again, it's genuinely like someone just threw him into the shot. I'm like, we need a body. Go stand there.
I could have been better and could have gone between Jensen and Alex, but I really didn't want to do that because I didn't know if I was going to get an opportunity to be close to balance it.
I think it's very well balanced because you've got the very bright, light colored clothing, and you're in the center, just kind of being
the beacon
of light, and then these guys just standing around on either side of you.
But I'm just saying, like, balancing it, having another person like on the other side, and like no one between Jensen and Jared is what I'm saying. And me in between Jensen and Alex would have balanced what you were doing, whatever's going on with you, Misha and Jared.
Yeah, it's almost like in the very what you miss is right after the photo. It's like Misha pulls me out of the photo.
Yeah, honestly, that is also something that could be happening. A lot of subtext between Ted and Misha going on here. I'm all about Jared and what's happening with Jared, but Misha,
there's a lot going on, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot of behind.
He's having a good time. It genuinely would only could have been improved if Jensen had like put his hand on your arm or something. I mean, that would have thrown Alex out of the shot completely. We would just photoshopped him out at that point.
Oh my god! But yeah, what if like everybody wanted to touch Ted? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if Jensen went
everywhere I go,
just like, hey, dude,
I reckon,
come on, share. Yeah,
I reckon they must get so excited when a guy walks into those photo shoots because they must deal with thousands of fangirly women.
Yeah,
and then one walks in. Either like I imagine there's probably not many guys that do photos, but if someone walks in with their husband and they're like, "Oh, thank fuck for that," no one's gonna grab my ass. Jesus,
nobody's gonna grab.
Unless the photo ops is Misha. But then it's anyone. Oh, come on now. You've been to 3 of these things. You think people don't cop a feel?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they do.
Haven't there been occasions where they've stopped the shoot because somebody inappropriately acted?
So you keep telling me you heard that.
I heard that somewhere.
And I don't know if that was maybe, but I've heard that before. But I'm sure that, and everybody says, oh, they're good sports about it. I'm like, no, they're human beings. Just don't feel that you can just cop a feel. Like I'm sure they're very careful. I think Misha's a little more crazy. Well, like he'll do whatever. But I don't know if Jensen and Jared would be as comfortable, like, smacking somebody's butt or pretending to smack somebody's butt. But I heard somebody posted something, and someone basically like called out this one girl that apparently went to Jensen at the photo op and was like, "Spank me, daddy," and literally like showed her, like turned her ass to him, and he was just like, haha, very funny. I'm like, that's not something you want. Like, you don't do that. Like, you don't do that. Like, that's just not something that you do. So yeah, I mean, I realize that they do that, but I still want to be kind of like respectful of them. As much as I'm fangirling inside, I don't want to cop a feel. I mean, I'm actually surprised I like dug into him and gave him a hug the way that I did, because I was like, I really did. I went in and I didn't realize until I'm like, I'm pressed so tight up against him, even for the briefest of seconds. And that was like, but my hands weren't like, further down. I kept them up. I didn't venture lower.
I don't know. That left hand looks kind of low in that hug shot.
It's not. It's not.
Let me just fire it up. We'll have an independent analysis here. I mean, there's the selfie. We don't know where your hand is.
No,
it's literally.
I think it was around him. I think maybe it wasn't. I can't remember now.
I will say in the hug, his hands are almost distractingly high on you, and ditto to you to him. Like it's cute, but it's not a natural pose because you're both like, nobody touch anything. Jesus Christ, nobody touch a fucking thing.
Well, it's also really difficult when you have somebody that's really tall, so he can't really hug around a waist. You can hug a shoulder, and a person can't hug a shoulder to him. It's hugging, I guess that's his waist.
I could have grappled onto his shoulders, but that would have been a totally different.
Would have been weird. Yeah, that's actually Jensen is hugging you where his arms would naturally fall, but you can sort of see the tilt in your elbow when you've pulled your hands up to not even be like anywhere near his butt, which is
Well, yeah, because I'm like, no,
I get it.
no.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
something that
as
tells
much
me you
as you wanna
definitely
be
didn't.
like-
I'm looking at the photo now. If your hands had actually gone lower and been close to touching his butt, I would have seen teeth in your smile. It would have looked like the smile in the selfie photo
Oh, come on.
would have been in that hug.
No.
If you had touched his butt, you're not telling me you would have been like instantly like, oh my god, it's his butt.
I think I would have been scared. Oh my god, I touched his butt. I'm not allowed to do that. I think that's what I would have done. I'd be like, no butt touching. No.
You could have just apologized though. You could have just been like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I could have, but I had a couple seconds of, trying to remain like an actual functioning human being and like trying to remember, okay, but I'm gonna get to put my hands around it. Again, we segued into Jensen and that was unnecessary.
Oh, what a surprise, listeners! What a surprise! We were talking about Jared, but now we're back to talking about Jensen again.
I think
Sorry,
we should
of
do
my
the cast.
fucking
I
life.
think we should do the cast photo op. So
Wait a minute,
that
are we skipping ahead through?
yes, we're
through
just gonna
events?
skip because I know you're getting tired. I could see that you're fiddling in your seat.
Well, no, I'm spinning around because what you can't see is in Sandra's office. We now have 3 of the 4 walls that have photos from Supernatural,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
one of the walls is 75% Jensen, and then the front wall just 50% Jensen. So yeah, I'm kind of getting dizzy how many times I have to spin around because we're talking about different photos. I'm like, okay, well, look over here for the quad photo, but then the hug or the selfie shot that Sandra did is on the clear opposite side. So I'm spinning back and forth,
Yeah.
getting dizzy.
Yeah, and I don't want you to get dizzy.
Okay.
So I
wanna
want you
go
to talk
straight
about
to
your
cast?
casting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I cropped some photos, so I'm just gonna send them over to you, Sandra, because it made me laugh.
Okay. Are you sending it to me on Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
am I looking in on
Yeah.
this or
No, they're
No,
not for you.
they're
Ted.
not
Yes,
for
of
you.
course they're for you.
I'll go back to looking at the walls.
You talk about cast. Talk about cast. Talk
Okay.
about that
No, one
debacle.
of them is for Ted. One of them is for Ted. One of them is for Ted. Jesus.
One of them is for Ted. Okay.
One of them's for Ted.
I mean,
Okay.
he can look at them
Me?
both. None of them are inappropriate, but one of them
Okay.
is for you. Yeah.
Okay.
I titled it
Okay.
Misha and Ted having a moment.
I still see my shirt. Oh, I
Yeah, well, I couldn't crop it out completely because you're all like overlapped with each other. But I was just like, we could just crop the outsiders out and
Aw.
just be Sandra and J2. And then I was like,
look, he's
let's not leave Ted
layered.
and Misha
He's
out. They're having
layered.
a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. Look, you can see the opening in my shirt. It looks like he's pulled my shirt open.
Yeah, he's all about that. Yes.
It does. Like he's giving
Aw.
you an incredibly aggressive shoulder rub. Unbelievably aggressive.
He
And
really
you
did
can't
try
leave it,
for the
like-
smolder though. I really do think he tried. The eyebrow went
yeah.
up and everything. So he actually got the
Yeah.
assignment. I was hoping that he would flub it. Like I was like, it would be fine if they just made fun of it. Like if I said smolder, but I think there was an attempt by all parties. Jensen, damn,
Well,
look
let's
at
go
that
look
smolder.
Jared. Oh, but I'm not. You can't
Yeah.
quite see me in that
Yeah.
crop because no, I want to see with the 2 of us together because I want to see does it look like he's coming in from whispering in my ear. Happy
Jared,
birthday, bud."
I think
Bro.
so. Was it bro?
Yeah,
or
I
was
can
it
I
dude?
can send
Dude.
I can send that one over again. Just for because I have it open because I had to scroll all the way back up. So if you wanted like an up close,
Yeah, because that way he doesn't have
Look
he'll
at it.
spin again and he might get dizzy.
At least this chair
yeah,
doesn't
I'm
squeak.
sending that through now. He does 100% look like he is pulling back and trying to pull a face at the same time, and that's just he's a puppy dog, and there's only so much brain, and that's too many things to do at once.
And they're like, look, we can
How low
smolder
could you
or we can
go?
happy birthday. We can't do both. Come on, people.
Yeah, you pick one. You pick one,
Saying
people,
happy
and then
birthday and smolder are 2 pretty much polar opposite.
Yeah. So Jared
Things.
tried to do both, and
Yeah.
that's what we came up with.
So that's a unique
Yeah.
pose.
Yeah.
From him.
So everybody as well in the comments, be sure to wish Ted a belated happy birthday from last weekend because he will hate it, and I want him to feel the love from our audience because then I get to go, Sandra. Someone said Ted should have a happy birthday, and she'll have to pass a message on. It'll be cute.
Yeah. Here it is. Okay, let's
It'll
look.
be cute. Yeah, no, he's definitely because like his head's kind of
And
on
actually,
an angle and
I'm
stuff.
thinking the lips being closed like that might be in the process of saying bro. Happy birthday, bro. So that B could be right there. That's what's getting him that pose there.
Yeah, no, D makes a difference. Yeah,
But you're totally in you're right under his armpit, babe. Look at that. You're like snug under there.
all the way in.
Look.
Can I just say, if we
I'm
look
sorry,
at
I
Ted and
didn't smell
Misha,
any mint.
oh. If we just look at the Ted and Misha one though, if we just creating this little fantasy story that I'm going with now. Ted's face, if you take everybody else out of it, just looks vaguely uncomfortable. Like Misha is really aggressively coming onto him, and he's just like, I don't know what to do with this. You've undone my shirt. You're really aggressively massaging my shoulder. Like
I'm doing this for my wife. I'll tell my therapist about this later.
Oh man. Where is your hand, Ted? Where's your other hand? Is it up here?
Yeah, Ted.
I didn't.
Where
I
is
didn't,
it?
No, see, in my head, I know these people
Not to
have
touch.
plenty of people trying to grab them, touch them,
Okay.
whatever. So I pretty much try to limit.
Okay.
That's why my previous photo with where's it at? Where's the one where I shrunk?
Oh yeah, it was with Brianna and Jody. Brianna and Kim.
Oh yeah.
You just went full
just
front.
like, my shoulder blades are pinched in.
Yeah.
I don't want to get yelled at for trying to touch the actors.
It's cute. It's cute.
But okay, so on to Misha.
To be fair though, like people understand intent. Like an accidental touch, they would be like, okay, it's fine. Like, you know, come in and fucking spank me, daddy.
Yeah, that's a bit. Yeah, that's just rude.
So, would you go up to someone on the fucking street and say that? No, you wouldn't. That is repulsive.
Yeah.
I hope they got a lifetime ban. That's gross. I feel like if you grope it is a grope. You know, if you inappropriately touch someone, they should be like, no more condoms for you. No.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't get a second chance.
One of the ones from the Comic-Con, that one from the last one that I really grew to loathe.
Yeah, that you just kept finding again and again.
Her phrase that she would throw out is sorry but not sorry. And I'm thinking when somebody like inappropriately tries to pretend like it was an accident, like, oops, I didn't mean, I just tripped and accidentally my left hand went in a place it's not supposed to go on you. You know, sorry but not sorry because it was fun.
Yeah. People are just rude.
So that actually is really good leading into my Cass photo. So for this photo, I was thrilled when I saw my ticket stub for go and get my photo shoot with him was number 9. I was, or was it 2?
You were number 2.
I was number 2.
Thank you. I was so excited for you because I'm like, you're going to get him right away.
Yeah. So all right, and like,
did he smell good?
Well, but see, we haven't gotten that far yet. Haven't even gotten in to see him yet, and they suddenly in the room, because this is a day when every thing got pushed by an hour, so everything's kind of getting bumped together. They didn't start calling group anybody with tickets, 0 or 1 to 50 goes now, and steadily increasing. It just went, okay, all photo ops open now, and
God.
I didn't realize this when everybody in the room got up and walked out, and I was like, would it be funny if they were all going to see Misha? And
I was like, no,
this goes on for like about maybe 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, it was a long time of waiting.
And I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna try and see I'm number 2, so I got to get out of here. So I left, and I get down there, and I'm happy to hold my number 2 slot as I get down to the photo area. And a security guard says that actually you have to get in line to get up to this point. This is not the start of the line, or whatever he said. He's like, you got to go down there. I was like, but I'm number 2. He's like, no, everybody's got to get in line. So I turned and like went back a little bit where I was coming, and then I had to get turned down a hallway. And the hallway literally went under the hotel. So deep down, I couldn't even get a cell signal to tell Sandra this is going to take a while. And I took a photo of it and sent it to her.
I should send it. I should save it. I should send that. I'll send that to Karlee if I can find it. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't get my number 2 slot that, it's
that
the
I
only
was like
ticket
so
we ever had that
for.
had a single digit number. And that didn't happen. So I just got to go with everybody else and got to meet people in line. Lady was there that she had dragged her husband there, and it was the first time everybody I talked to was a first time Supernatural convention person. So I wasn't getting having to deal with people that were all entitled because, they had budgets that they could do all these meet and greets and all this stuff. It was nice to have fresh faces coming in.
Are you seeing the picture, Karlee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah.
So it's hard to tell, but that's actually a ramp. So I'm at the lowest point in this hallway, where it then from this point on it starts to go back up in the opposite direction. And again, I sent this picture to Sandra, but it didn't get sent until I got all the way up out of that tunnel.
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, apparently this seemed like it was a bigger draw than anything else.
I think the Cass photo op is just always
was in
costume.
He was as Cass, not as Misha. He wasn't just wearing some jeans, that kind of stuff. So he actually had his trench coat on. So yeah, it was a nice long line. Got there, got up to the, finally got called to go up to see him, and I knew at this point this photo op thing had been going on for a long time. They were pushing it faster than any of the other ops that
you'd ever done
experienced. So I got in there, and literally they have lines on the ground, and ushers will tell me to go to that line. So I go to that line. I have my mask off, showed the ticket. Okay, now go to that line. So I go like 4 more feet up, and then I'm watching the photos being taken in front of me. And as soon as they're done the photos, they mean, okay, now go up for your photo. So I went up to Misha. I'm like, okay, can you zap me? And I touched my forehead. And he's like, yep. So I got in my position, and it was so fast. If you look at the photo, I'm actually looking at the camera because I just asked Misha if he could do the touch. He said, yeah. So I turned to see if the cameraman knew, and he took the picture. I didn't get a chance to do the whole I'm getting zapped and tip my head backwards and
Aww.
But it came out good. I think the one thing we're going to do
is a good photo.
Yeah.
And one thing I like though is this photo is perfect way for me to tell a little mini story that has nothing to do with people that follow the show, but people that just are seeing the photo and don't know who this actor is. And I was like, yeah, see, they just finally took the plexiglass dividers away, and I went in for a hug, and this is him strong-arming me back away from him before the security guards tackled me. Because he has that look. He's like, stay back.
Yeah.
Like, fucking no. Yes. Oh, that's brilliant. So, like,
he even did the slight lean back. It's almost like he's actively shoving me with his very strong 2 fingers.
Get away from me. Yeah, that's cute. He looks good as Cass though. Still, I miss.
Oh, he does. My mom immediately, she doesn't get anything else. She's like, he's nice looking because he's in a suit. I'm like, okay, Mom.
Yeah. All right. You should show Crowley and be like,
we're not arguing he's a nice looking man, but just because he's in the suit. But okay. Yeah. So that was cute. It was a good picture, and we figured we could do something with his eyes or whatever. Like if he wants, I mean, I know that's like an incapacitating thing. So he's supposed to kind of he would knock you out, but we could always give you demon eyes or something like that too, just to make it even more fun. Yeah. Could do that.
Yeah.
Play with that a little bit.
Well, yeah, actually when he's zapping other demons and stuff where their eyes emit this
but usually I think
light.
It's his whole palm, but yeah, we could pretend, and we could just emit light from your eyes too.
And my mouth.
And your mouth.
It's just
do the whole thing.
Yeah.
That might actually require somebody who knows a little bit more about photoshopping, but yeah, we could probably do that.
Okay, just save a fresh copy. Save a clean copy.
Oh, absolutely.
And just keep having a go.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my JPEGs to come back. The ones that you have to pay for, Karlee.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for those.
We have discussed this. I think it's fucking appalling that you have to pay for the photo. Obviously, you have to pay for the cameraman's time, and you have to pay for the actors' fucking children's college fund. But I think it's fucking appalling. You have to pay again for the digital file.
But yeah, so all in all, comparison-wise, Ted,
I put this at ranking from the first convention to second to this one. This one is the pinnacle of the best. I was asking Sandra about this yesterday. I was like, can you think of anything to complain about legitimately you didn't like about this trip? And then I was like, maybe the hotel shower being broken. And wait a minute, no, you got to think of that on your own. I just told you that.
Mm-hmm.
But this one really worked out pretty well. I was like, yeah, it's a convention where they're dealing with changes. cancellations or late arrivals, and they're making the best that they can make out of it. And I think it worked
The
out.
hotel was really big too. So like in comparison, they had a lot more room to kind of get things. I mean, honestly, I think still organizationally, there's a lot of room for improvement, but I think they were given space where they could flub and make mistakes, and it wasn't, people weren't on top of each other the way it was at the other one. Even the concert, when the waiting in line was totally different because there was so much space to have the lines and stuff. So that even worked out a little bit.
And they
A little
figured
bit
out the
better.
whole way of playing an episode of Supernatural without having issues of not being able to
Internet connection. Yeah,
make
they
an internet
bought the
connection.
DVD. What a surprise. Like I think you can afford to do that, people. You could have that on file. I was like, look, it's
Go
a
off the
DVD
DVD.
That's why
video.
we have to pay for the photos
Yes,
now. Is
because we're
that
paying for
because
them
of
to
that
have the
DVD?
DVD. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do y'all feel good that you've contributed to putting the Ackles and the Padalecki children through
Yeah.
the
I
highest
feel good
college
about
in the
that.
land?
That I
Good.
feel good about.
Good.
I feel like they
But-
deserve it.
Yeah, they do. Let them ride on their father's coattails. Ooh, they deserve
Absolutely.
it. I'm
Yeah.
in the Gordon Ramsay camp about this. I'm like, you will not struggle, but I'm not gonna fucking give you an easy ride, Graf. Like, you know, I'm not gonna see you struggle, but you're not just having this money.
Yeah.
But we cannot be wrapping up without telling Sandra's highlight of every con she's ever gonna go to for the rest of her fucking life. Because we got distracted.
Right. So, I guess, okay, Ted's like just leaning back and like, I'm just going to listen.
Taking the observer now. Really.
So the whole thing about the,
Ted's done with this.
yeah,
He's heard this story. He's fucking done with it.
the meet and greets were, again, like because they're NDAs, like I knew anything I asked, I can't, I can't share and stuff like that. So that was kind of like over and done with. I was waiting to get the autographs and, finagling, giving people passes to get their other autographs done. Ted had left me by myself to fend for myself because he wasn't feeling good. He went back to the hotel.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting waiting. It's going to be a while. I was like, row L. What else am I going to get him to sign? Because if I did a photo, it'd have to be on Sunday, and I was already going to have a photo autograph because we found out that Ted's best friend's son loved Supernatural. So we were like, well, would he like to get a Jensen Ackles autograph? And he would have loved that. So I was going to save that for Sunday to get for him. So I was like, well, the only other thing I had was a Entertainment Weekly Halloween, the one where he's holding the kitty cat on the cover. And I was like, but then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I just bought that Eat Pie, Kill Demons sign. I said, maybe I'll just get him to sign that. And then I'm Googling, does permanent marker last on glass? And then I was like, it was this whole thing where I had to peel off all of like the stickers covering it. And I'm like in my seat, like cursing Ted. Because I'm trying to pull the stuff off, and I'm horrible at stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, pull that off. Then it was just a whole process. And I'm like, okay, it's not bad. It's something I can look at. And I said, this will be good. So I get in line. Our line gets called. I'm behind somebody who apparently cosplays Donna. And she's telling me about her TikTok account and that her husband does all of this 3D printing stuff. And she literally has the Colt in her hand that her husband had 3D printed. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And then I'm looking at my little sign like, well, shit. So I was like, well, this is gonna just be a thing where he's just gonna sign it, go through it. And I was already prepared because in Charlotte, there was not really any interaction except for a hi and a thank you. So I was already expecting him just to sign it and we would just get pushed through. So this was Saturday. We're getting closer. And then the person in front of me that's got the Colt is, he's talking about how cool it is. And she's, mentioning her husband did it and they're having a little, and I was actually surprised because he was talking to people. Like, it was like, I just don't remember him talking a lot to the other group when we were in line. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll at least be able to say, oh, I love Dean or whatever. And, maybe get a couple questions from him or just a comment from him. And I would have been fine.
So let me just interject there.
Yeah.
Let me just interject there before we get any further. We have all discussed in depth what we would ask the guys if we ever got to like, if we were ever brave enough to stand up at a panel and ask a question, meet and greet, stuff like that. So obviously Sandra's got NDAs. She cannot disclose what she asked, if she asked any questions at a meet and greet, and if she got any answers. But this one, she can. So it wasn't a serious question. It was one of those dumb questions. Like my dumb question to ask Jared is Sam a vegetarian or does he just hate bacon? Like it's just one of those really dumb character questions because she's already had a serious what about this moment with Jensen. So this is just a silly question. I go back and forth on my serious Jared question. This one's just a silly question.
Yeah. So I had so my plan was to actually ask this question if I got called at the meet and greet, but I was going to like start with like a serious question and then segue into this one. So because I didn't get called, at the meet and greet. So I don't know, in my brain, I was like, okay, I saw that he was talking to other people. It's like, well, maybe I said, if he initiates something, it might make it a little bit easier for me to ask. Like, I'm not just going to like blurt out something. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that. So the person in front, she's even asking about like the car and like, she didn't know that he had the car, or maybe she did. And she was like playing it up like I was doing when I got up there. So now that I'm like psychoanalyzing everybody. So, so the handler basically, you give that whatever they're signing to the handler and then they pass it over to the actor to sign. So I gave the handler the glass and I was like, can he sign on the pie? Because there's a little pie above it. And there's like a little section where
needlessly complicated as well.
Yeah. So I was like,
I'm just saying, like, hand the thing over.
Yeah. Yeah. So you would think that that'd be easy, like right on the pie would be fine. So he's done with the other person and I go right in front and I'm like, okay, oh, he looks so cute. He looks so nice. And
there's no plexiglass divider.
And there's no plexiglass and there's nothing. And there's like, yeah, it's okay. I know you were excited for me too when I told you what happened. So
I completely freaked out when she told me. So
he looks at it. He stops and he looks at it and he's like, do you know about this sign? And I was like, oh my God, he's going to tell me about the sign. I was like, no, I knew about the sign. I wanted to hear him tell me. And
I fucking know. I know everything.
And he's like, on our 300th episode, they made this sign. And it said, eat pie, kill demons, is a big neon sign. He's like, fun fact, he's like, this sign is at my brewery now. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And he's like, yeah. And the handlers, and he's about to sign like in a random spot that he shouldn't be able to sign. And the handler's like, no, on the pie. And he's like, oh, okay, on the pie. So then I was like, Sandra, this is it. I'm like, he's told you a story. Ask the fucking question. So I was like, can I ask you a question? And he's like, sure. And I'm like, again, this is where it starts to get fuzzy. Like I remember certain bits about what he said, but then I really can't tell you exactly in detail. But I just said, so I've noticed, I said that Dean eats his hamburgers upside down a majority of the time, not all the time, but a majority of the time. I said, is that something you chose to do for Dean, or is that just like a Jensen thing? And he kind of looks at me. He's like, so no, I did it for Dean. And I was like, well, why? I don't know. Like, he's like, well, why not? And I'm just like, oh, okay. I guess that's an answer. And so he finished his signing and then he stopped and he looked at me and he points at me and he goes, you know why I did it? Because of this moment right now. And I swear to God, that was like a romance, like novel, like line. If I'd ever heard, I'm like, oh my God, what is he going to, and like,
I just got a chill here.
I'm like, because of this moment right now. And he's like, because, he's like, I knew, or I hoped that somewhere, someone was going to notice that I did that and was going to want to ask the reason behind it. So it's because of this moment. Something else. I'm sure he said something else really great. He knows how to work everybody. My God, that man and his charisma. But I was just like, so there was probably more to it. And I know it went on longer than that. But then I'm just like a big old puddle. And I was just like, I think I clutched my chest. I was like, thank you. I'm like, I love you. And I love Dean. And I was like, oh my God. But I was just so like, he stopped. At the end of the day, even if it was bullshit, he made a point of making me feel important for asking that question about Dean. And I know that he cares about Dean. So for somebody, I want to think, to have noticed that he did that, whatever his reasoning was, I still want to believe I'm the first person that ever asked him that question. So that's what I'm going to stick to.
You are.
Because I will say, as a sample size of us and Dee and my husband, who have all watched Supernatural, you're the only one that picked up on it and been like, he eats his burgers upside down. And I guarantee you, I would stake a lot on it that when he was done, he went back wherever the fuck they go. He's hanging out with Jared and whatever they're doing. And he was like, hey, someone asked me why Dean eats burgers funny today. And like, even if it was just that line, I guarantee a conversation was had about it.
Yeah.
I guarantee a comment was passed. And like, yeah, it finally happened. Someone finally asked me. We knew that shit for 15 years and someone finally asked me. I guarantee it's, that's really good. It will have, for those guys who see thousands of faces every day of those cons, you stuck in his mind like 5 minutes at least, which is the best thing anyone can ask for.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And infinitely better than anything I could come up with if I had that situation with Jared. Because well, we know one of the options that could have come out of my mouth.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it was, and again, like the next day it was totally different. I just went in, told him thank you. He signed. I didn't, it was already a really late night. I wasn't going to try to recapture that. You know what I mean? Like have that happen again, which I think some people,
again, you're not going to
you're forcing it, and I was just like, I gave him a smile. He gave me a smile. I said, thank you. And I'm like, it's almost like had my moment. This is my really special moment that I can look back on and be like, even if it was just for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, there was a little connection that happened. And again, it was just like, I feel like if I can never go to another con, I feel like I did all the things I wanted to do. And again, I think that that's why, like the next day, I just went right up to him. I'm like, can you do the smolder? It was just like, yes. So it's just like, it's those little, I understand why people get comfortable around them, but I think you still need to know and understand the grand scheme of things. It's still transactional and you're still just maybe a face that they might recognize, but it's just going to be for a split second and then it's going to be gone. So, but I was just thinking afterwards, I was like, I love you. I loved you. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So like, do
you know what though?
I just turned into a puddle,
Think about it though, Sandra. Think about it from the other side. If you post something on AO3 and you get the same people commenting, but every time they comment, they're like, I love this. It's amazing. You don't ever get sick of hearing that, do you?
Yeah,
you're never like, oh, this person's told me how great I am so many times. So he will have just been like, I will still have been nice to him.
Yeah.
Even though, we're like, from the other side, you're like, oh, that's so cringe. I should have said something so much better. But like for him, you never get tired of hearing that people like you and like your work.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's super, super freaking cute. And I'm really glad you had that moment because I feel like it's humanized him in your eyes now. I mean, I can cast stones all the way over in the UK. I'm never going to come face to face with Jared. I'm never going to have to deal with that. But that one moment is very human. And I think that's probably why the next day you were like, nope, it's just a person. It's just a guy now.
Yeah.
It's still a guy that I can't touch his butt because that's morally reprehensible. But it's just a guy now. It's not a rock star. It's not a god. It's just a guy who's going to take a photo with me. Please pull this face. Because I'm paying a shit ton of money for you to pull this face. Thank you. Yeah, like you said, it's transactional.
Yeah.
So, but like, hands down.
Now that Sandra has such a great rapport with him, for the next convention, I think that she should pull him down to where he can, easier to talk eye to eye and say, look, I have this dear friend of mine, Karlee, and she keeps saying she's never going to see Atkins and Padalecki.
Okay.
I screw up names. Never going to see Padalecki in person and never going to happen. And I think that Sandra should tell Jared that they need to head to
well, they might, Karlee, they might do Birmingham again. Didn't they do Birmingham before? Is that really far for you?
It's the UK, babes. Nothing's really far.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's what I'm asking. But I'm like, for you, it might be far.
As long as the trains are running.
It's
As long as the trains are
Yeah,
running.
as long as they're
Yes.
not, as long as they're not fucking on strike again. It's not like down the road, but it's not
Mhm.
insurmountable. I've gone further for
Mhm.
other things, but I just don't think like Mark comes here, like Mark is around a
Mhm.
bit. Jim has come, some of the other guys have come, but there's probably not enough money here to justify coming over,
Here's my
you
thought
know.
though, which it really sounds like Jensen is pushing this, if they reboot, they're going to go all
Oh
these
yeah,
different
if they
places again.
reboot, they'll come.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I'll just be like, everyone I know, you have to watch my children because I have to run and do this thing, and I'm not fucking taking them with me.
We might have to
Thank
go
you.
to
And
the
people will
UK for
rally around
that,
and
for
they
a
will watch
trip,
my children.
just to go and see all that
Oh, I meant just
happened.
watch your kids. So
Yeah, to watch your kids too. We'll do that too. We'll do the watch the kids. Watch
You
the
guys
kids.
are cute. You
Yeah.
guys are cute. I can't remember who I said. I mean, said it in our group chat, but I was like, I always wanted to go to America. And it was always like a big thing I wanted. And then y'all went fucking insane and now everybody's
Yeah.
shooting each other. So I was like,
Mhm.
I would pay for you guys to come to the UK. It would cost the same amount of fucking money. And instead of me going to America where we might all get shot, just come over here and you won't
Yeah.
get shot. And it's
Yeah.
cool. And like, because like you, like, D is the only reason I'll go to Australia. It's way too far away. You
Mhm.
guys are the only reason I come to the UK. So I'm like, well, you come to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to get
Yeah.
shot, and the UK is interesting and stuff. We all talk funny. It's cool. You can have fun doing that confused American tourist face when someone talks to you with an accent, and you're like, I don't.
Huh?
What do you say?
What language are you
I
speaking?
don't
Right?
understand
What
you.
is happening? Yeah,
I told Karlee about
we
your
were
not
talking
believing
about.
Rowena was Scottish.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the episode we recorded before
I
this
don't know
and I
what you're
was like,
talking about. I don't.
no. I know people from Scotland. I work with people from Scotland. That's just how they fucking sound. Some people have a really harsh, heavy accent. I'm gonna take you over to Ireland. You guys should go to Ireland. I'm just gonna dump you in the middle of a village somewhere and be like, figure it out. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. But this was good. This was
So
fun. I'm glad that Ted did this
yeah.
again and gave us
All
some
in all, though,
all
if
in
we
all
had to
really good.
rank, if we had to rank, and I know that you guys weren't necessarily happy with New Jersey, but if we
Mhm.
had to rank, now we've got 3. What are we ranking them at, guys? I have got to stop putting you two on the spot. I am so sorry.
No, I really think I'd rank them in terms of how they happened because again, like Charlotte was so just getting back into things and the plexi, and I feel like the actors were still a little cautious. And granted, I kind of wish DC hadn't been so like just let her rip
Laxed.
with the mask thing, but
But the
Mm.
last one that is doing it.
yeah, but but no, this one I think just because of everything personally, like what just all the stuff I was able to do, and like I know this is like it for me. But then New Jersey, I mean Jensen got to sing. I have never saw him sing in person, so for me that kind of like puts it right second. And then yeah, the Charlotte one would have been down the, so for me it just goes in order. I feel like they got better.
Yeah, that's where I was
Yeah.
gonna go.
So this one would be number 1.
Of course, I don't know, Jersey. I feel like they might get pushed a little bit lower.
Well, the hotel
because
and
of-
and everything that they did was really crappy. So that
Yeah.
kind of changed. Like if we're talking logistically,
Ted had feelings about New
yeah, Ted had a
Jersey.
lot of
Go back and
feelings.
listen to the previous episode.
And the
feelings.
fans
There
even
was
like
was I that
yeah, and the fans
passionate?
too. Like I felt like we had I felt like we made more connections with other people at this convention than we had in any other ones. Even if it was
Yeah.
just self-contained in this time capsule of a convention, we met a lot of nice people that I don't feel like we really got the chance to in Jersey for whatever reason. And Charlotte, we just didn't want to hang out with people because we were still scared about COVID. So we were kind of like self-containing ourselves a lot more. So but yeah, I mean, hotel and logistic wise, New Jersey sucked. The hotel at Charlotte was a lot nicer, I felt like. But still it was kind of a little wonky with the setup. The Marriott was a huge hotel that the convention was at. So just by in and of itself, they couldn't really screw it up that much. They still managed to, but they couldn't screw it up as much as
Never
like, at the
underestimate
creation.
the ability to fuck it up. Yeah, creation are getting paid way too much fucking money for what they do.
That was
But
a good
otherwise,
convention. Really good convention.
a good con was had by all.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. So thank you very much for joining us, Ted. I know we've
Oh.
kept you a very long time.
Oh, thank
but
you for having
joining
me.
us.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the ranting of the convention. If you were at the DC convention and you have anything to add to your experience or anything involving it, your comparisons to other conventions, let us know. I feel like every time we've gone, we learn a little bit more about the fandom, and I do appreciate the experiences that we get with the fans a little bit more. So it's nice to have those interactions. And like I said, those little capsule moments are nice to look back on.
Yeah.
But
thank you for keeping going and letting me live vicariously through you guys.
Yes, absolutely. I still think at some point we're going to be able to say, yes, they're going to come back to the UK and you're going to get that. You're going to get that moment with Jared.
I hope so.
We're going to cross fingers for that. All the karma is going to work in your favor. So ways you can contact us. So if you want to email us, you can reach us at idlingintheimpala@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are idling in the letter D Impala. If you want to reach out to me, find out a little bit more about my writing and my fan fiction. On AO3, I am Drasna, Drasna. On Twitter, I'm skylewrites, SKYLEWRITES. And my original fiction can be found on my website at sandrakyle.com.
Woo, she got it all right. Yay. Did you have that written down?
No, I didn't look at it. Look at it. It's in there.
Yeah. It's in there now. So if you want to find me, you can find me on AO3. I am Karlee Karma. However you think that might be spelled, it probably isn't. So that's Karlee, and then Karma as you spell it normally. Same username and profile picture on Twitter as well. So if you see it and you think, hey, I wonder if there's two people out there with a weird spelled name, same profile picture, it's probably me. So don't forget to wish Ted a happy belated birthday. I mean, maybe our birthday wishes won't compare to Jared wishing you a happy birthday, but send him some birthday love anyway.
In his ear, Karlee. In his ear.
In his ear. No, stop this, because I'm going to start looking up flights again, and you won't like what happens if I have to look up flights. Know what we're doing. So yeah, wish Ted a happy birthday. Don't forget to check out the description for the causes that we are currently highlighting, signposting, etc. at the moment, and maybe I will ask these lovely people, and maybe we will be able to post the con pictures to our Twitter account with some faces blurred out. But that is,
you know what I'm thinking too? I might even just I'm even thinking my Jensen ones, once I get the JPEGs and I clean them up a little bit, I might just post them on my Twitter and not worry about my face. At this point, it's like, everybody else does it. So maybe I'll do that. But with Ted, yes, I'd want to like put a nice old clown face.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I still me and Sandra and Dee have been friends for quite a while now. And if I'm going to send her anything that has my husband in it, I still blank his face out, because he doesn't want his face on Twitter, and that's fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, but we are, good Lord, we're rambling again. Jesus, we're going to call this episode. We've had rambling, we've had off-roading. What are we going to call this?
I don't know what this one is.
Post DC Con hostage situation, where we throw you in the back of the car and make you listen to us for 3+ hours. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. We will see you in the next episode. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.